Look, y'all all know autism and Autism Awareness Month in April can feel really icky, can feel really heavy. It can be like the month that you want to disappear as an autistic person because every lighted up blue autism mom in the world is out there. And it's just like, no. And this year in particular, with the huge shift that we've had in our political climate, a lot of us are feeling like we've been completely erased, and all the hard work and all of the heart that we've put into advocating over the however long you have been advocating, me personally for a decade, it just feels like the rug got pulled out from underneath you. And I will say it was one of the reasons that I started the Shine a Light campaign several years ago to shine a light on amazing autistic advocates. And my guest today is Sara Bradford, SJ Childs. She has a fabulous show, and this is her second International Autism Summit. I'm going to say, when we were in the green room, I said, Sara, what is really sparking your joy? What are you so excited about for this conference, for this summit this year? And she said something that is so heart-centered and touched my heart. And Sara, would you share with everybody what's sparking your joy about this year?
It's social Saturdays, the vibe feels right. Carol Jean's got the mic sparking light. We're building bridges, hearts open wide, sharing stories where the real reside. Autistic women creating a space, community love, it's a warm embrace. Connection's the key to break through the haze. Together we shine in a world we amaze. Social Saturdays, living loud, breaking through the silence proud. With laughter and love we're all aligned, being ourselves in the truest. We are wild and free.
Sara, would you share with everybody what's sparking your joy about this year?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to the connections. It's always this beautiful networking of people that come together. We get to hear their wonderful stories. And as I had mentioned, for those who are new speakers, you get to watch them start out a little nervous and make them more comfortable as they get going. By the end of it, they are just shining all of their light and letting everyone know exactly why they're there. And they feel like they're valued and they have a purpose. And that's what it's all about, is for bringing our purpose to the world. This is the sixth summit, the second international. So we're getting our feet are more than wet at this point, and we're starting to swim. It's really exciting. It's been an amazing journey to get to this point.
Oh, it's Sara. I was so excited when you asked me to be a speaker for this conference because I attended last year as a guest to be in the audience and observe, and it was so beautiful. And there were so many wonderful conversations, but it really was exactly what you just described, the community and the connection that was happening in the chat box, and the people that I was getting to connect with and meet that I hadn't met before. It was so beautiful. And it was this place of, you can show up new. You can show up, a little messy, maybe not sure exactly what you want to say just yet, but you had the idea and the spark, and that germination of an idea takes root in community. And you were so beautifully stepping into that space of creating where we were all coming together, whether we were a speaker on the stage or an audience attendee in the chat. And it was just so glorious. And that's one of the things that I thought was so important to really have you on the show to talk about the beautiful Autism Summit coming up April 25th and 26th this year, because I feel like really right now, what we need is that connected community where we're seen, we're heard, we're understood.
Yeah, exactly. And, I've throughout this, putting these events on, one thing that's always come up, people, oh, are you going to have this person here or that person here? Well, I'm always looking for new people. I want to showcase new people. Like you said, I want you to meet someone you've never met before, people who, and maybe someone everyone knows, because there's so much value in both of those, um, to get those fresh new ideas, the connections and opportunities that you can get through meeting all of these new people. So, yeah, it's overwhelming and exciting that it was all like the very very first one was an idea my husband had. He's We were sitting there together and I said, I'd really love to have some type of like an online event and bring people together. And at the time, the numbers were 1 in 44 in 2022. And I said, something to do with like 1 in 44. And he said, what about the 1 in 44 tour? And voila, it became an actual event. When that happened, the how it was like tangible and there were people there and it went on and we had sponsors and co-hosts, and I mean it was just like this unbelievable um circle, full circle of things that had now I can be a little bit more understanding of what the audience wants to hear. What are the topics that are relevant and current now that we need to talk about? And I think that there's a lot of autism summits and conferences. Oftentimes they have the same speakers or the same kind of topics, and so I want to bring something different as much as I can to everyone. And this year we'll be doing a lot of technology and autism because that's really growing. So I'm excited about some of the topics and categories, if you will, or subtopics we'll be talking about. Um, Hopefully, all important and very relevant to the audience.
Oh, that I'm really excited about just the variety of topics that you had. So did you have like an overarching sort of theme or North Star in mind when you created this year's summit?
You know, that's a really great question. I think that the most important part is the people's voices, and that can be misleading in that I only mean people that are speaking, and that is couldn't be further from the truth. I really want to embody and represent as many parts of the community as possible. And so I think it mostly the overall theme I would say is um, empowering the autism community in a digital world and really helping everyone understand how to embrace all of the resources, community, tools that are accessible, especially where we're in a virtual conference. What better to bring what we can virtually? Yeah, so that would I think is kind of the feel.
That is so amazing. And I love that because that is someone who in my past, when I was in burnout and or I would hit a big shutdown, I experienced situational or temporary mutism. And, you know, having that can be really scary because you have all the things, all the words, all the stuff's happening in your brain, but it's just not able to come out of your mouth. And we have a lot within our autistic community. We have a lot of folks who are really, that's just not their most comfortable way to communicate. And how we can embrace some of the really amazing features of technology now. Like, I know that that would have been huge for me to be able to have an AAC device for those times where I just couldn't talk, but I needed to communicate. A friend of mine, we were talking last week, and she said, one of the scariest things, she had a head injury and a concussion back in the fall. And she said, I couldn't speak. She said, I lost my ability to talk. And she said, it was hours and hours. And she said, I had all the thoughts and everybody's talking around me, but I couldn't speak for myself. She goes, finally, after about 3 or 4 hours, my husband had the clarity of mind to go grab me a pen and paper. And I started writing, and immediately that changed everything to be able to be heard. And I think that's such a beautiful thing because there's so many of us that maybe that's not the most comfortable way. It's not our preferred communication style, or maybe we aren't verbal. And having that technology and being able to talk about those different ways of using technology in this summit is going to be really exciting, Sarah.
Thank you. I am excited. And, last year we were so honored with a non speaking guest. There isn't one this year. I'm so sorry, but there's a lot of other conferences going on and there's a lot of busy people. I did try, but in accessibility, accommodations, StreamYard, number one, is fantastic. It gives you so many closed captions and all kinds of wonderful accessibility. But I also offer my speakers, panelists, the option for me to interview them in this type of a setting, for me to be on there with them and talk them through it. And a couple of the speakers are more comfortable that way. And that's so exciting to me that they want to bring me in with them in their time, to kind of help guide them through the process. And so that's something else that I love. And of course, if people want to do pre-recorded messages, then that's always welcome, as to be able, if they're not going to be there, at the preferred time or whatnot, or if they're just not comfortable being live, or afraid of what the comments might be or anything like that, we'll have moderators. But it's really, in the past, I don't think we've ever come across like a negative feedback. They've just been wonderful conversations, like you've said, where there's just so much chat going on, that it's such a sense of everyone is involved and everyone's here for everyone, and it just really makes that good feeling, right? Of, here you are, you're part of the community. The comments go up live. You get to see your name. If you don't want it, you can see anonymous, whatever you feel comfortable with. It's just like, show up however you'd like, and that's the beauty of kind of putting together a summit with us, not for us, not about us, but with us, like hand in hand, all of us together. I think there's just so much power in that.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. So, Sarah, would you mind sharing some of the highlights from speakers and a variety of topics and what people can expect
Gosh,
in the beautiful summit that's coming up
it's
for Second
exciting.
International Autism Summit? And again, and that is on April 25th and 26th. We will have the link down in the show notes. But Sarah, give us some of the sneak
Yeah.
peeks, would you?
Definitely. So, here are some of our topics and some of our speakers. We're going to be covering autism and education. We'll have Dr. Eric Endlick, Dr. Teresa Haskins, Leah Gallioni, and Michelle Steiner. There's actually quite a few, so it's going to be just so wonderful. Early diagnosis and late diagnosis plans and support, so important. Dr. Anila Khan, Dr. Catherine Parnell, Dr. Diane Hudson, employment and entrepreneurship. We will have Gabby Garland, Dr. Adam Hazlitt, Michelle Markman, who is a wonderful coach also. Family and caregiver support. We'll have Marianne Hughes, Dr. Diana Fannin, April Ratchford, who is the podcast host of Adulting on the Spectrum. And she's fascinating too. We also have our social emotional growth and autism life skills category, which you will be in yourself, I believe. And Scott Herman, Cheryl Albright, tech and autism. And we have Megan Winters, Annie Crow, and there's actually another speaker, and I don't have their name on this list. I'm going to have to get it on there. And Mikkel Laverty. And I hope I'm saying everybody's last name correctly. So just excuse me, if I'm not. Aaron DeVries, who's the inclusive dad, has a wonderful podcast. Then not to mention, those aren't even any of our actual advocates that we have on our advocates, our Voices of Neurodivergent Adults panel, which we have 12 advocates ready. Ron Sandison, who is a big advocate that a lot of people know, Mike Tomorrow, Michelle Vinokurov, phenomenally autistic. We have Dr. Chris Edwards. He's a research from Australia. I should have told you where some of them are from. Gosh. Yes, some speakers from Australia, the UK, India, and the United States. So, and I'm sorry for all of those who I didn't mention.
No, yes. Oh, I love it. So I'm good friends with Michelle Martin, so I'm really excited. I saw Annie Crow's slate was on there, and I saw Martin Slink's was on
Oh,
there. He was the
Annie
presenter last
Crow.
year. Oh, Annie's
Woo.
awesome. And
She
Michelle,
is
I mean,
incredible.
oh,
This was my first time meeting her, and it was like it was exciting. It was like big. And she's big and exciting, and like you really get like so excited listening to her. So yeah, she's gonna be great.
oh, this is going to be fantastic. So,
I know.
give us a little insight into
Yeah,
how, because we got to know what to expect to get comfortable and feel safe.
exactly.
So,
You
kind
know,
of let us know, how is it going to run? What should we expect in the summit when we register and sign up?
So the registration, and you'll put the link up there, is just an RSVP. This is a free summit. This is free for everyone. It is going to be streamed from StreamYard to all of my social media pages. And you can also find all of that information on my website, sjchilds.org, or you can go here to sjchilds.betterworld.org, which is the RSVP link. And that is free, of course, just helps get a better understanding of how many people will be there. And of course, if they want any replays, things like that, we can, have those types of things available. So it usually starts out, well, it'll start out at 9 a.m. And I will kind of come on and I do have some hosts that I'm lining up. They have not all been selected yet. And so, but I have some very, very exciting people to announce as my co hosts. And I'm kind of leaving that as a little dangling carrot because yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. I've reached out to some big names and some other people that are just my wonderful friends and, been co-hosts with me in the past. So we'll see who comes along and drop those later on in my social media. So go and follow so you can get all of that information as well. But it'll start at 9 a.m. We just come on, introduce, and then the first speaker will come on. The speaking portions of the presentations will be from I think it's 9 to 4 p.m. And there'll be 35 minutes each with a 5-minute Q&A, and we can adjust that as things change throughout the day. You can never never be sure that it's going to be exactly how you imagine it, but we always make it enjoyable and make sure it all works out, whatever we can do. And then in the evening or later afternoon from 4 to 6:30 p.m. will be our advocates panel. We'll have our 6 advocates on each day. They will come and give 15-minute presentations with a 5-minute Q&A, and they'll actually have predetermined questions that we've gathered and kind of gotten what are the biggest you know problems or misconceptions, or what is your idea for what needs to happen to increase the understanding in the world, things like that. So that'll be really interesting to see how they answer those questions differently and get that perspective, because it's really all of our perspectives that these parents, professionals, educators, employers who are going to be showing up to get this information, we're going to be teaching them. We're going to be allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and accessible to them to help guide whatever journey they're on, if it's parents or whatnot. So yeah, it's really lovely. And we've had wonderful feedback, even in times where, yes, it's technology, and sometimes the internet's going to go out, or somebody's camera or something's not going to work. But we just always make sure to be very calm and nobody panics. Sometimes every year we've had sponsors, and so we'll just play our sponsor videos, and kind of take up time for that portion if necessary. But yeah, we make sure that everything works, and there's always a couple of people on, like, in the backstage to kind of help guide the guests when they come on, the speakers. So yeah, it's
Nice. And
growing, and
because
we'll
it's
be back.
international and you say 9 a.m., what time
That
zone 9
is
a.m.?
so true. Thank you for saying so, because in years past I've really tried to accommodate other time zones and not myself. What a mess. No, no, no. Like, I can only work in my own time zone. I am in
You have
mountain
to be
time.
at your peak
Yep,
performance
yep.
zone,
Sorry, guys.
Sarah.
9
Gotta
a.m.
beat the
mountain
burnout.
time to 6:30 p.m. mountain time, which is uh a little bit
11
late
Eastern.
Eastern, a little bit later, and kind of right, perfect, great time in Pacific time. So, but internationally, it is a little trickier, and that's why at the very beginning I offered the calendar to our international presenters so that they could choose the best time slot for themselves and have that first pick of all the calendar slots, because we really need to accommodate them the most, I think. So, and everybody's willing to do that.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
I love is that this is going to be broadcast to all of your platforms. So people can come in and out whenever they need to. I
Yes.
love it's camera free for all of the audience members. So
Yes.
you don't have to make sure you're done to a certain degree or anything. You could show up in your pajamas with your hot rollers in your hair
Yep.
or
Eating Cheetos,
whatever.
whatever you like.
Exactly. That's what I loved about it last year. I was like, "Oh, I was so relieved to know I didn't have to be on camera. I could just show up and enjoy." And I love that. And that will that also be available after the live event for people to watch if it's the middle of the
Yeah.
night for them and they wanted to catch a session.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm hoping as it all goes as planned, that I'll have those replays up and available, possibly on my website. I'm not quite sure where I'll house those at this point, but we'll make sure they're available. And luckily, at this time, I think replays are still available on most platforms on Facebook and things for at least 30 days. So people will be able to go and catch those if they need to.
That'll be really nice. And
Yeah.
you dropped a little nugget I want to ask about. You said if we have sponsors. So if somebody's really interested in becoming a sponsor for this incredible summit, how do they get in touch with you? What kind of
Yes,
sponsorships are available,
please.
Sarah?
So, and I wish of course, I don't have that paper in front of me, but I do have that information on my website. You can go straight there to find out. And the sponsorships are very reasonable, from, a contributory sponsor, I want to say, is like as low as $50. There's even, and then it goes up to 1,000 or 1,500, I think, is like the top tier. So they're not like $10,000 sponsors. I mean, someday I really hope to get there. Let's not, let's be honest. But at this point, it's hopeful, small businesses. I really want to be able to represent people who want to show up and show that they're a part of this global community. We do have a couple meetings this week with some awesome sponsors, an app that might want to be a sponsor that does like an autism AI app. So really looking forward to that, because that's like kind of right on line with what we're doing. And then of course, like our partnerships that we have with other companies, the US Autism Association, I have a partnership with, where all we promote our things back and forth for one another. And so that's exciting. And in fact, I can probably say here that, and you'll get to know then, that one of the co-hosts is actually a new host of the US Autism Association podcast that they're putting together, that I am the new co-host of. So ding,
Oh,
ding,
that's so
ding, there's a new
exciting,
one. So
Sarah.
that'll be kind of fun. We're going to introduce that there. So that'll be kind of fun to do that too. So yeah,
Nice.
some good things. But sjchilds.org, that's the website you can go to. If you just type in SJ Childs, which is, you can see behind me if you're just listening, SJ Childs, like children, but childs. Um, you can just put that in your Google search bar and you will get pages of Sara. So
Perfect. And I'll have a link down in the show notes. So if you just want to click on directly
thank
where, and I'll
you.
have a little thing that says if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for this summit. But I know you also have a really neat feature this year, and I was so excited to donate to it, and that is the silent auction.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. I would have I totally forgot to bring that up. Isn't that crazy how that happens? Things right on my list. Silent auction. This will be my first time doing it. I hate saying that and putting myself out there like that, but I am new to this space. So I'm not quite sure how it will go because I've never done one and I have no experience to draw from. But I'm excited to do it. And we have amazing you excuse me, donated a wonderful session. We have a session from a special needs divorce coach, so anyone
Oh,
that's in the
nice.
process of that can have that available to them. We have Ron Sandison's new book, Adulting with Autism, which will be available. There, Spectrum Sailing is an incredible sailing company that goes around and does free sailing camps for autistic families. They're going to be a speaker, and they're also a sponsor, and they are going to do a stuff they're going to do merchandise in the silent auction.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
and
so fun.
there's probably a couple of other ones, but yeah, I wish I had all the information in front of me. But as we both know, sometimes days just are life.
Look, before we got on, we were both in the green room, and I was like, Sarah said, "How are you doing?" I was like, "Huh, it's kind of one of those days." She goes, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're just gonna go from here, and it's okay that we're not like at our
Yeah.
best today. We're doing what we
Yeah.
can because this
Yeah.
conversation is really important and sharing this amazing summit and all of the speakers and your heart and the beauty that
Oh,
is behind connecting people and
thank you.
connecting people in a way that is just so heart centered is just a beautiful thing. And I want everyone to know about it. And if you're
Yeah,
listening, we would love for you to join us. Go
please.
sign up. It is free.
Yes, yes, there's no excuse. No, just joking. Yeah, please do come. There's, like
PDAers.
you said, and you can
We
come
were
hang
laughing about that
out.
because we both have PDA, y'all.
Totally right. Don't come. You don't have to. Just kidding. Do some
Do whatever you
psychological
want.
everything we can. No, just joking. No, it's really some of the opportunities that have come out of the summits. I mean, we had Danny Bowman in our first summit and possibly in our second and third summit. And look where she's at now. Not that she started by any means coming on to the SJ Child summits, but it just goes to show like how much you can follow someone's, she's on Love on the Spectrum now, and just how many amazing characters you can follow, and just the representation that the world is accepting is getting so much better and so much more inclusive, and being able to bring advocates from around the world. I think it's really important that we hear the stories from others in other lands and other countries that don't have the same opportunities, so that we know where the work needs to continue, and that where and sometimes even needs to start. And as sad as that is, because I think we're really far ahead in the United States and in the UK, and Australia and some other countries that but some of the advocates that you'll hear from some of the other countries, it's surprising. And even if you go back to last year's summit, and we had this wonderful South African um, advocate, and she had some amazing stories, but also heart-wrenching stories of just the belief system and how challenging that can be a really hard thing. And it's still a lot of work that needs to be done. So come and join us so that you can learn so much and share so much. And really, we all just grow from it.
I do. And I love how you brought all of this together. So, if you're listening, if you're watching today, and this has really spoken to you, to your heart, you're getting as excited about this as Sara and I are, please go sign up, get your link and all the goodness. If you are interested in becoming a sponsor, please definitely step into this. This
Mhm.
is such a wonderful summit to sponsor, and the work that Sara does. Everything that she does is just out of the goodness and generosity of her heart. She just wants to bring people together and really elevate all of our voices. The second International Autism Summit, again, is April 25th through 26th, and you can RSVP at sjchilds.betterworld.org. All of the links will be down in the show notes. Sara, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for
Thank
sharing all of the
you.
amazing things on this summit.
Can't wait, and I can't wait to see your presentation. I'll be there.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for being here. It's been quite a ride. Energy mastery, let's turn the tide. Top shelf guests, dropping wisdom bombs. Join us next week, where the energy's strong. Beyond calm.